Hey everyone, Tony George. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. The NFL opening line report, playoff style, and this will be the last NFL opening line report of the season. I haven't decided and made any picks on what I'm doing yet. We release our plays on Thursday. We've got Saturday, Sunday, and a lone Monday nighter this week. These are just initial reactions and initial leans on these lines. I'm liable to change my mind 10 different times between now and Thursday as I look at these games, the injury reports, the line moves. There's been some line movement. This is where you leave your thoughts on what you think about the games. And I'll go in the back end and approve the comments once I weed out the F-bombs and the haters and links to porn sites and everything and other handicapping services trying to get you to go to their Super Lock of the Year page type thing. I will interact with you in the comments section. I did want to thank everybody for tuning in all year long. Got kind of a cult following on this thing. A couple thousand of you a week tune in. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you leaving comments. I even appreciate the haters. You know, we had a decent NFL year this year. The haters are just as much welcome as the non-haters, you know. So, go ahead and fire away. But, everybody's an armchair quarterback on Monday morning. After the games are final, you should have done this, But nonetheless, some interesting things going on in the NFL right now. Coaches getting fired, coordinators getting fired. Chicago Bears want to continue the whirling cesspool of doom and despair by reaching out to Jerry Jones to want to interview Mike McCarthy since he's done a wonderful job with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Why don't we just go ahead and continue the pain and suffering in Chicago and hire him? Wow. But nonetheless, there's other candidates they're interviewing. Vabel, the offensive coordinator from Detroit, also is on the list that he's going to interview. Ooh, I don't know if I'd be doing that right now. I wouldn't be giving him permission to interview with anybody where you're sitting. Number one seed, along with my boys right here. And by the way, Cincinnati wanting an investigation, everybody bitching and moaning about Kansas City laying up against Denver. Did anybody realize that's what they were going to do? When you're the number one seed and have one loss all year long, and you have an opportunity not to play a starter for 3 weeks before your first playoff game, because you got a first round bye and you're not playing anybody this week, then you got a whole week to prepare for who you're going to play, either the Texans or the Chargers, both teams of which Kansas City beat up this year, one of them twice. You're not going to play anybody. It's on you, Cincinnati. It's on you to win enough games to get the playoffs, not waiting around for somebody else to lose. That's your fault, Probably why you fired your defensive coordinator this morning. Should have fired him about 6 weeks into the season. Hello. But nonetheless, let's get going here with this week's action. Again, these are just initial thoughts. I have seen some of the lines, obviously, this time around. But let's start out with Saturday's games. And you've got the Chargers taking on Houston. The Chargers, although they are a wild card and Houston is a division winner, the Chargers opened up at 2.5. Now they're at 3, total 42. I thought Houston was going to be a major player this year in the AFC, in the hunt for, getting to the AFC Championship game. I thought this might be their year, and they have just faltered badly down the stretch. Losing Tank Dell was a big hit. Collins is still a stud. But their offensive line is so bad. Early lean out of the gates, Chargers there. The Steelers taking on Baltimore. Steelers defense finally played a decent game. holding down Cincinnati, although they did lose the game. That's 4 in a row against really good teams. And, of course, the Ravens spanked them a couple weeks ago. This lines up to 10, 43.5. I don't see a clear path where Pittsburgh can beat them. Not the way their offense is playing. And Pickens, what was that last week? I mean, he looked like his mind was elsewhere. Did he smoke a bowl before the game? I don't know. He just looked like he was like just absent from the game. Just absolutely horrible performance by him, and that's their only chance to stretch the field vertically. And Baltimore's going to do what Baltimore's going to do. You might want to think about a first half line in that one. Not sure on the total. I heard the weather is going to be bad in Baltimore. That 43.5 could play to the under. I don't see Pitt scoring a lot of points. I got a lot of friends that are Steelers fans. What's Tomlin done as a head coach since he won a Super Bowl? Their last 11 playoff games are 3-8 since they won that Super Bowl. Wow. Denver, who got the layup against Kansas City. By the way, Carson Wentz just looked like he sucked in that game, which he does. We need a better backup quarterback. FYI. Denver on the road, 8.5 against Buffalo. Total 47. Check the weather again. Denver's pass rush. Josh Allen is not that effective under a heavy pass rush. FYI in that one. All right, just saying. Teaser possibility on Denver there as well, in my opinion. Total. I mean, Denver's able to do some things offensively. They got a good 1-2 punch at running back. Won a top play in the prop market with McLaughlin at running back for them on Sunday against the Chiefs on a 3-1 card. As I always tell you, props are the way to go. You might be able to tease that either way, because you want to look at teaser opportunities. 14.5 one way or -2.5 the other way if you're doing a 6-point teaser. So you're getting through, some big numbers there. One thing about the playoffs I can tell you is, and I'll give you some advice I got and how I've amended it over the years at the end of the video, but nobody's here by accident. They all earned their way here, so that's interesting. Philadelphia, -4.5, total 45.5 against Green Bay. Now, Jordan Love banged up his elbow. They lost Watson for the year. Costly loss against the Bears. Philadelphia, you've still got Jalen Hurts in concussion protocol. So you're going to have to watch. If Jalen Hurts going to start, I'd probably plunk a decent amount of change down on Philadelphia, but I need to wait and see what happens here. Green Bay just hadn't beaten anybody good down the stretch. 45.5 is the total. Again, we want to check the weather this time of year. I don't like teasing through 0 at all in the NFL to get them at +2.5. I don't see a path where Green Bay can win that ball game. Philadelphia's a really good football team. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. You got to wait and see. But I don't think Green Bay is going to be able to go in there and run all over them with Jacobs, and I think Barkley will have his way. That might be an underplay, actually. Tampa Bay at Washington. Now, they own a win over these guys. They opened up at 2.5, went to 3, 50.5, the biggest total on the board. I could see that happening, actually. I'd early lean that. You're talking about a team here in Washington that's 11-6 to the overs, and Tampa Bay is 12-5 to the overs this year. Both these teams got 10 covers on the year. Obviously, Washington the better record at 12-5. I thought Tampa looked less than sharp against a really bad Spencer Rattler-led Saints team, which really surprised me. I had a free play first half line on them for you on video. I thought they'd come out firing because they have looked good. You know, they had put up 40 or more points in 2 of their last 3 games heading into that one, and put up 48 against Carolina. Of course, you know, that Carolina-Atlanta game going on at the same time, you know, where Carolina beat them, believe it or not. But, which surprised me a little bit. I thought Carolina gave them a game, but I didn't think they could beat them when everything was kind of still up in the air on the line. So that just tells you the kind of shape that Atlanta's defense is in. I think Penix is going to be a star for them. Rattler's not going to be a star for New Orleans anytime soon. And I really like Tampa Bay heading into this game. They're a dangerous team. They got a hell of a 1-2 punch at running back with Irving and White. Evans is as good as advertised, just tied Jerry Rice's record for most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Baker Mayfield is a wild card. As a matter of fact, both these quarterbacks are wild cards. Now, Daniels got banged up in that last game, so you're going to want to check his status. If Daniels doesn't go for any reason, I'd be strong on Tampa Bay. If anything, if he does play, Daniels is going to be a superstar in this league at quarterback if he stays healthy. He's thin, doesn't weigh a lot. He kind of lanky by nature, extremely quick, extremely gifted, got a live arm, makes good decisions for a real young guy, very poised, and can really hurt you on the ground. He's a poor man's Lamar Jackson, probably with a better arm. But these guys played earlier this year, and it was a 37-20 win by Tampa in this very same stadium. They were laying 4 in that game. I think Washington's a year away for what it's worth, honestly. Now, on Monday night, we've got the LA Rams against the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know what the look-ahead line on potentially this matchup would have been. I would have thought it would have been at least Minnesota 3.5. Right now, they're -1.5 and 47's a total. This is the Monday night game. Of course, LA rested everybody last week. Minnesota, you're talking about a team here that's 11-5 against the spread and got 3 losses all year long, and I still can't figure them out. If LA has the personnel to follow the game script that Detroit used, Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator, used against him on Sunday night, they can beat him. Because Sam Darnold looked like a deer caught in the headlights. He got blitzed every play. They knew they couldn't cover him down the field. They're thin at DB there in Detroit. They have 12 defensive guys on IR from the start of the season till now. And it says something, because odds makers are smarter than analysts you see on CBS and ESPN and all these other networks, Fox. You've got a 10-7 team that's only a 1.5 underdog at home. You know, Minnesota just looked bad. That's the script to beat them. Can they bounce back? I tell you what, is this over and under is 47. Seems about right. Now, these two played earlier this year in October, and it was a 10-point win at home for LA. They rested everybody. Maybe it's one of those games where who's the better quarterback? Matt Stafford? Sam Darnold? What are we talking about? Not even close. Who can stand up and take hits in heavy blitz packages? Matt Stafford's been doing it his entire career. You know, he took a beating in Detroit for 12 or 13 years or whatever it was and put up numbers, you know. I think Stafford's more prone to turnovers. Nakua, Cup. You got a good running back there. McVay may be the better coach. Home team. Kind of see where I'm leaning there. Those are my initial thoughts this week. Leave me your comments and I'll argue with you or agree with you. Tell me what you do with teasers, maybe some money line parlays, just for craps and giggles. Player props are going to be preeminent picks this weekend. I'm going to be a lot heavier on player props in these games than I am sides and totals. As you should be. Now, back in the old days, as I part you with this, as this is our last NFL opening line report, when I was coming up through the business way back in the 90s and early 2000s, there was a guy that kind of mentored me when I kind of started making my mark and doing national radio spots and all kinds of different things and kind of grabbing a name for myself, placing highly in some contests out in Las Vegas back in the day and garnering some interest from websites like Covers and these other places and posting some really good season-long records. Mike Lee approached me and took me under his wing. He's since passed, but he was a longtime Vegas fixture, handicapper, well-known guy. Anyway, he told me, you know, Tony, in the end, you know, you think you got the world by the tail. You're this young whippersnapper, you know. He said one thing about the NFL playoffs. He said, forget about the point spread. He said, just bet. He said, just take and bet the best team. You're going to win 70% of the time when you throw the spread in. Those days have kind of changed, but sometimes history has a tendency to repeat itself. Just bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. I'll be starting up a college basketball show with Griffin Murphy here in the next couple of weeks to get us through March Madness here on the Doc Sports YouTube channel. So be looking for that. Maybe doing some things with the new guy, Craig Trapp. Craig's new to Docs, but he's not new to the industry. Very sharp cat. Worked with Craig for 7 or 8 years over at Picks and Parlays before I came to Docs exclusively. Good guy, very knowledgeable, and be looking forward to doing some things with him. So you'll see me around the channel, the daily free plays as well. Doc Sports is the place to be. Free $60, link in the description below. If you've never been a member, we'll park $60 in any new account. It comes with a profit guarantee and 0 strings and hassles. Okay? Thumbs up, subscribe, so you always get notified when myself or any of the guys over at Docs put something free up here on the YouTube channel for you, so you don't miss any freebies. We hit a 6-unit play on Sunday with the Arizona Cardinals for a blowout top play winner. On Sunday, we'll have a card Saturday, we'll have a card Sunday, and we may have a card on Monday night as well in the NFL as the playoffs approach. Looking forward to getting my boys back on the field and seeing who we play after this weekend and making a run for it. You know, the team that everybody loves to hate now is going to be starters rested 3 weeks for a playoff game where they might not need to play their starters the entire game, which would be interesting. Although Chargers did give us a ball game last time they were in here. But boy, that much rest and being healthy. And on the other side of the coin with the number 1 seed Detroit, you know what? They play defense like they did against the Vikings. They're going to be the toughest team to beat in the NFL down the stretch. Think about that. We'll be doing some freebies for you in the NFL, so tune in, look for them. Thanks for tuning in all year. The NFL opening line report. And just from a fan's perspective, go Chiefs. Have a great playoff season, guys.